Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Future Stars live on Hidayat TV. I'm your Hassan Shah and today we are continuing with our fixing sins and effects series, part 3, where we talk about the sins and the effects and how to prevent you from going to the sins, and most importantly forgiveness as well also. So before I continue, I'd like to introduce my guests.
Assalamu alaikum, my name's Misbah.
Assalamu alaikum, my name's Hussein.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Mohsin.
Thank you for the introduction, and like we do in every show, someone reads the surah and someone reads the translation. Misbah, you're reading the surah and Mohsin, you're reading the translation. So can we start them off with the last salawat?
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farjuhum.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. All praise is due to Allah, Lord of the worlds, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful, sovereign of the day of recompense. It is you we worship and you we ask for help. Guide us to the right path, not the path of those whom you have bestowed favor, and not of those you evoked anger, or of those you are astray. Salawat.
Allahumma salli
ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farjuhum.
Thank you for that. So whenever you're reading a surah, make sure you read the translation as well, so you know the history behind it and how you can implement it into your life. So throughout this series, we've been talking about what? This
Sins and effects.
Yeah, sins and effects from our fixed series. This is a part. We talked 3 parts about this sins and effects. And what have we gone over these two last episodes?
How can it affect you?
Yeah, how can it affect your lifestyle? What else?
How do you forgive?
Yeah, also forgiveness as well. We've been talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's forgiveness and His power. And on the second sins and effects, part 2, that second episode, we put it into stories, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we gave examples of how the things can help you, and made into a simpler, more example, so people can understand, can't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what will we be talking about in today's episode?
Like forgiveness and how the sins affect you.
Yeah, and that's the main thing that we've been talking about in this series, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But what will be like important things from this episode only? We're saying, do you think that we'll be talking about? What do you think we'll be talking about?
Like the main points.
Yeah.
And the main.
So we'll be talking about the sins itself, yeah, and how and you will be doing a demonstration as well, won't you? Yeah, and showing how it will also affect you. So before we continue, can we have a salawat in honor of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him?
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farjuhum.
And second, in honor of our holy first Imam Ali alayhi salam.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farjuhum.
And our third, with our loudest voices, in honor of the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asri was Zaman.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farjuhum.
And Hussein, you've got the first thing, so can we again have another loud salawat?
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farjuhum.
Sins are harmful not only because they mean we are disobeying Allah's rules, but also because they affect us in many ways. We do not realize that sins have many after effects that continue to harm us long after the sin itself has been committed. Some of the effects of sins are 1. Erasing of good deeds. When a person does many good deeds but also commits many sins, the good deeds are wiped out because of the sins. If we want our good deeds to be accepted, we must stay away from sins. According to the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, when a person does a good deed, he gets a reward for it. Sometimes the reward is there in Jannah waiting for him, but when he commits a sin, it is as if he sends a fire to destroy all his rewards in heaven. Many of our good deeds may be erased without us realizing it, just because we did not stay away from sin. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farjahum.
Thank you, Hussein. So Hussein was talking about that sins. People don't know that sins. What do? They have effects even after you do them, don't they? So
Yeah.
what was the first effect that we were talking about now? What was the first effect that we were talking about now? Mosa, can you remember what Hussein was talking about? The effect that it had?
Erasing of the
Erasing of the deed.
Erasing of good deeds. Yeah. So what some people don't know is actually what happens is when you actually commit a sin, it starts to erase some of your other good deeds that you've done yourself and you've been maybe working hard on or something like that. And Hussein actually mentioned a hadith from the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. What was that? Can you say it again, Hussein? If you can remember. When you do a good deed.
When you do a good deed, there will be a reward. It might not come straight away, but there will be a reward maybe when you're in heaven. But when you commit a bad deed, it's like sending a fire to heaven to destroy that reward that you're going to get.
So when you actually commit that bad deed and you've done a good deed, and then all of a sudden then you do a bad deed, those good deeds are being erased. So your reward that you would have got for that good deed has now been terminated. You will not get that reward anymore. So some people need to know this, don't they? So then when they've done this good deed that they've done, and then they don't go straight to go committing a sin or something like that, because it will affect the reward what they will get. So people need to think before they act, shouldn't they? Yeah, and also main thing, ask for forgiveness as well. Yeah. So Miss B, you've got the next thing. So can we start, Miss B, with the loud salwa?
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farjahum.
2. Hardening of the heart. When a person always commits sins and does not ask for forgiveness, his heart slowly hardens and he may reach a stage where he does not feel any shame at disobeying Allah. The 6th Imam says, everyone is born with a pure heart. When he commits a sin, a black spot is formed on the heart. If he seeks forgiveness, the spot is erased. But if he does not seek forgiveness and continues to sin, the black spot becomes bigger and bigger and finally covering the whole heart. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farjahum. Thank you. So first thing that we talked about, the effects of these things is a erasing of what?
The good deeds.
The good deed. And what was the second thing now that you talked about? Hardening of the heart. What does that mean, Miss? What was you explaining there?
Like if everyone is born with a pure heart, but if they sin, there's a little black spot goes onto the heart. If they ask for forgiveness, it is raised. But if they don't and they still continue to sin, the black spot gets bigger and bigger, finally covering the whole heart.
Thanks, Miss. So what do we believe as Muslims, that when you're born, if you're whatever family you're from, whatever religion your family is, or wherever you come from in the world, wherever you're from, when you're born as a baby, what are you?
Pure.
Yeah, you're pure, you're sinless. You have no sin, you have committed no sin. there's no punishment you at that time that you have. There's no punishment waiting for you in hell when you're a baby, because you haven't done any bad things. So when you're a baby, you are born pure. You're born without any sin. You haven't committed a sin yet, so you're sinless. But when you grow up and sometimes you lose this and you do commit a sin, what happens? For the example like you was talking about, Miss Beth?
The black spot gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah, so you create like a black spot on your heart. Well, what does that mean? It doesn't mean that physically like a black spot like is on your heart or something like that. What does it mean?
It means that the sin is like sort of sinking in.
Kind of.
That your soul is becoming from pure to impure. How first of all you are pure, and then as soon as you commit a bad deed or a sin, that changed into like from pure to impure.
Yeah, and this spot, what does it do? Once you do commit more sins,
and then it'll be harder not to do more sins.
And the black dot get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, the black dot get bigger and bigger. What is that black dot bigger? What does it mean by getting bigger? What does it represent?
It's representing like your soul. So when you do a bad deed, it's going to be a black dot. When you do another bad deed, it's going to get bigger, which means your soul is going to become more blacker, more impure, which means that sort of that you're a bad person, or that you won't be getting as much reward as you would have if you would be doing good deeds.
Yeah, this is a important thing. So this hardens your heart, doesn't it? It keeps your heart in that state. But what happens? Like, how can you explain it? Like, to stop this black heart,
you can
this hardening of the heart. Yeah, forgiveness from who? Ask for
from the person that you've committed the bad deed to, or from Allah when you've committed a bad deed.
Yeah, so you pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to ask for His forgiveness for whatever sin you've done, and then do you think this black heart will reduce? Yeah. And thank you for that, Misbah. Mohsin, you've got the next thing. So can we start Mohsin off with the loud salawat? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajhum.
Displeasure of Allah is a sin, is a very serious sin. This is a disobedience not to the parent or principal, but to the Creator Himself. If we continue to disobey Him, we will have a great shame when we return to Him when we die. We will not benefit in any way if we return to Him when He is displeased with us. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajhum. Thank you. So what was this third thing now? This effects that sin have. Disobeying what?
Disobeying your parents. No, disobeying Allah.
Yeah, the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what does this mean? It means that you're not disobeying your parents. You might have disobeyed your parents, as that's a sin, but through this doing of these other sins, at that time, who are you disobeying?
Allah, because you've been told that doing this is a bad thing, yet you've still committed it, so you are doing a bad deed towards Allah.
So you're disobeying the one who created you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Because He set these rules.
Yeah, He set these rules, and then you're not listening to them, and then these are the effects. So you get to a certain point when you keep doing those, and it's really hard to stop, and you're disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala most of the time in the day, aren't you? Yeah. So this is a really bad thing. So and this is why we need to talk about what the most forgiveness, so people know how to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness. So this is what thing. So every day, what you should be doing, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness. So what you do, kind of at the end of the day, maybe you can do this before you go to bed. ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask for forgiveness. This is maybe should be a daily thing for people, so it could help them. Okay, Hussein, you've got the next thing. So can we start Hussein off with the loud salawat? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil fajrahum.
Let us turn now to some of the many sins that we commit every day. Some of them are 1. Lying. Lying is a major sin, but it is only cowards, those who have no faith, who will try to cheat others by lying. Courageous people will never lie. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, speak the truth because Allah is with the truthful. Keep away from falsehood because it destroys the faith. A truthful person is on the path of success and salvation, while a liar is on the brink of disgrace and disaster. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil. Thank you, Zain. So, then now we're talking about the physical sins themselves, aren't we? So, what was the first sin that Zain mentioned?
Lying.
Lying. So, what is lying?
When you don't tell like the truth and you say.
Yeah. What is it as a sin? A what?
A major
major
sin.
A major sin. So there's this thing that people may think that there's minor and major sins. But what does that mean?
It means that people think that one sin has more of an effect, so more of a bad. It's more badder than the other sin.
Yeah, but this is kind of true. So one sin will have a bigger effect than the other sin. So so if you do one sin and you murder someone, that's a more bigger sin than maybe the other sin that you committed. But what are these all sins?
They're still
sins. They're still sins. So even if you think, oh, it's only a minor sin, I did it, it's only a minor sin. It's still a sin, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even minor or major sin, they're both, what are they both?
Sin.
Yeah, they're sin, they're both bad. And then in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether it's minor or major, do you know how much people say that one day might be in people say, when after the day of judgment, when you get put into your place, like wherever you're going, hallowed to heaven, people, how do you know any and do any of you know what one day is like on as a Earth day? Any of you know? Like
about 150.
Yeah, 150,000, something like that. So Earth, time on Earth is what is it different to?
The time in heaven.
Yeah, the time in like after the day of judgment. So when you do this sin, whether it's minor or major sin, maybe you get one day in heaven, and people say one day in heaven is like what? 150,000, something like that. Maybe it's not the right thing, but it's something. It's really, I think it's close to that. It's along those lines. So even if one major sin, it might give you a day or something in hell or something like that. But it's still gonna take a longer time, and you still will hurt from it. So whether it's a minor or major sin, what is it?
A
sin nevertheless, and really, really bad. So maybe a major sin will get you 2 years. Major sin will get you like 10 years maybe in there, and then it'll be longer than maybe the minor sin. But then the minor still, you'll get the same pain, but it still will be for a long time, isn't it? So it'd be a good thing to refrain from all sins. So before we continue, we've gone through enough for this part half of the show. So we'll see you in the next half of the show, and we'll have a demonstration from Hussein showing the effects of sins and more, and we'll talk more about these sins and the effects. So we'll see you after the break. But until then, good Hafiz.